Good morning. Happy Friday. My name is Michael John. It is my purpose to assist you on becoming your best version, however that may be. Let's talk about free will. Oh man, everywhere I go, man, some type of loud ass engine. Let's talk about free will. I think I made a video about this earlier. I don't know if it was a main topic, but I mentioned it. And I was mentioning how free will, and as far as I'm concerned, is an illusion. And how I base this understanding is on certain experiences that I've had in my life. And if we truly have free will, then why is it that the spiritual realm, our spirit guides, just our guidance, has the power to put a thought in our head so strong that we react on it and do what they want us to do? Now, how is that free will? You know, and something happened to me where I started questioning whether we had free will or not. And I'll get into that in a minute. But as soon as I started questioning it, without even Googling anything, things started popping up on my newsfeed, you know? And I came across a video for Joe Rogan's podcast on a guy that he was interviewing that had done studies on free will. And it only confirmed what I was already thinking. And in that study, they had hooked a bunch of individuals up to like an EEG machine to read their, like an MRI was reading their brain. And what they realized is, so what they would have them do is like, okay, when you hear a beep, you're going to raise one of your hands, a left hand or a right hand. It doesn't matter which one it is. Just make the conscious decision in your head and then raise your hand. So they were doing that, and they saw that there was some type of signal that the MRI was giving off before you would even make the conscious decision and raise your hand. But it was the same exact part of the brain that would control you raising your right hand. So they knew. And before you knew you were going to do it, you had this response that you weren't even conscious of, and it made you choose your right hand. How is that free will? You know, a lot of people don't like to accept fate as their reality. They like to think that every decision that they made and everything that they've done in life led them to where they want to be. And they're the ones who did it. It was me. I am strong. I am smart. I am this. I am that. And it's all ego. Because the ego wants to take credit for everything. Always. And that's understandable. But just be conscious that that might be the case. Because I've had multiple situations that I was in that when the whole situation unfolded, had me really question what happened. You know, a quick story was, you know, I started drinking about 3-4 years ago. You know, life started getting boring and trying to bring a little spice to my life, and started drinking again. And one day I was like, man, I just need to go out and let loose. So I went out with my sister and her boyfriend, and we got some food and some drinks. Before we know it, I'm smacked. We all worked at the same job. So they worked third shift, I worked first. She was like, hey, Joseph, her boyfriend, he's going to drive home with you, and just so I know you made it home safely, and then just drive back to work in the morning. Oh, okay. Well, we ended up going out that night. After we left the bar, got more liquor, went to another bar, and before we know it, I'm fucking piss-ass drunk, driving with some broad in the back of my car. I don't know who she is. I am pretty sure she was a drug addict, though, and we had some type of intention to go get drugs. I don't know. I was fucking blackout drunk. So during this ride, out of nowhere, I had this fucking urge to just piss bad. So I stopped the car right there. I get off on the side of the road and I start taking a piss. Well, while this is all going down, my sister's boyfriend, Joseph, who was in the passenger seat, decided to jump out the car and get in the driver's seat. So when I'm walking back to the car, he's like, man, you're too drunk. I'm in a better position to drive. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. And it didn't make sense because he had a warrant for his arrest and he had no driver's license and he was drinking. 3 reasons of why it was not a good decision for him to drive. But he chose to make that decision. And as soon as I jumped in the passenger seat and we drove off, not even a block down the road, woo! I think if I recall correctly, he put the car in drive, took off, got about 15 feet, and a squad car came flying up with its headlights on, or with its cherries on. And he got arrested for his warrant and his no license. I ended up in the back of a fucking ambulance from fucking alcohol poisoning. I woke up the next morning in pretty much a padded room with all these IVs hooked up to me, not knowing what happened. And that's what happens when you go trying to spice your life up. But I started questioning, like, he made that decision on his own free will. Or was it one of my spirit guides gave him that intuition to be like, hey man, you should drive, and then talked him into it and he made that decision. Because in his right mind, he would have never chose to drive. And he did. And it saved my ass, and I am grateful. Because if I didn't make that decision, I would be back in prison, fucking starting over again. But this is right before my awakening. And then once I started going through this awakening, I actually reflected back on this situation and was like, wow, there's more to that than I even know. And then I started questioning free will. And in my eyes, I like fate because I know I'm headed somewhere great. I know it. Where I should be right now, fucking, when I mention my past, I'm not bragging. If you fucking are bragging because you've been to prison, that's some loser ass shit. But, so, I should, once you get stuck in the system, good luck getting out. And I happened to find my way out. Everything started working out for me. Got off of drugs, got off of this, fucking living my life, honestly. And then this whole awakening thing happens. So I know that I'm headed somewhere great. Because if not, why wouldn't the universe just keep me in my same miserable ass life? Because I have a purpose. And every piece of information, every guidance that I get through numbers, through everything, is always saying, you have a purpose. And you are fulfilling that purpose. And you're getting closer and closer. So keep following your guidance. And you'll lead you to exactly where you want to go. So me personally, I don't really care about free will. I'm not so egotistical where I want to take credit for everything, even though it's nice and we love being praised. But, that shit's an illusion, man. If you fucking base your self-worth off of people praising you for the deeds that you do, and you buy into that, one day it's not going to be there. And guess what's going to leave along with it? Your self-worth. So be conscious of that good feeling you get when you're getting praised, but just know that it's an illusion and you don't base your self-worth off that. And just know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Especially if you're following your intuition and your heart, you're all good. Just keep on going. I support you. But either way, support yourself, love yourself, and follow that heart.